So in the interpretation of art, now in this case, let's talk film because we're talking about film. We are talking about this issue of the emotional vis-a-vis the intellectual aspect. I think both are functional when you're experiencing an art form, because you have to intellectually sort of grasp it for it to get to your
for it to be emotional.
Yeah, for it to be emotional.
But I don't know if I agree.
Okay, not entirely.
Not entirely.
Not entirely. Wait, let me find a good way of putting it. Because okay,
I think you can say that an intellectual interpretation can be an emotional interpretation.
Yeah, exactly. An intellectual interpretation can be an emotional interpretation, but an emotional one may not be
intellectual. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that makes more sense.
Yeah, because it's, and I find myself going to directors like David Lynch who make very surreal films, and they always, David Lynch, Stanley Kubrick, they always refuse to explain their films because to them they believe that you don't need to understand it intellectually for you to understand
it.
Yeah, like it's the same in internet. There's a famous line: you don't have to understand it, just feel
it.
Yeah.
The way we see time.
Well, what about free will?
That bullet wouldn't have moved if you hadn't put your hand there. Either way we run the tape, you made it happen. Don't try to understand it. Feel it.
And that's true, because I mean, we don't go around in our daily lives trying to, like, we're experiencing life, we're not really thinking about it intellectually.
We are
feeling
and even if you try, you'll fail.
You'll fail, because if you really try to think about every moment, you'll go crazy. It's like you're just supposed to feel it, go through it.
Yeah, to go with it, along the trip.
Yeah, go along the trip.
Yeah, and I think I find myself when I'm reading a lot of science fiction can be very complex, because most times you find that it has been written by a scientist and they really enjoy putting in the science that you'll never understand in there. So I find myself being like, a scientist must really enjoy reading this book. I find myself wishing I was a scientist. And I think it's true, because when they see concepts they understand, it engages them more than it would me. But I also understand a level of it. I can't explain exactly what is the detail of it, but I understand the general view of it, and it's that emotional understanding. The
emotional understanding. Yes.
And I think a film ends up being a kind of emotional process. If it were purely intellectual, I think it would lack in some aspect. I don't think it would be a terrible film, but a piece of art engages our emotions. And I think that's why rewatching helps, because when the first time you're usually very self-aware. But when you are repeating it, you're not looking for anything. You're not trying to connect anything. You're just you're okay. You're not anxious. You're just sitting back and you know what will happen. So you're going moment by moment, just experiencing it, and you find yourself emotionally, you start connecting things.
And I think it's the point of emotion. Emotion is what brings that strong connection. Just as you said, if it were purely intellectual, then connection would be hard. Yeah.
Very hard.
It's like you're trying to approach a relationship intellectually.
Or like you're trying to have an emotional connection to something like a difficult physics
Yeah.
problem
it
or
won't
mathematics
work.
problem. It wouldn't work.
Yeah. Because it's literally intellectual.
It's very intellectual. Yeah.
You have to understand. It's not a matter of feeling. So I think when you connect that issue of emotional versus intellectual interpretation, I think they're intertwined. That statement where you say it can be it can be emotional and intellectual, but it can't. Wait, what did you say?
It was you can connect.
You can connect intellectually. No, you can connect emotionally then intellectually. But
an intellectual connection can be an emotional connection. But not all emotional connection is intellectual. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
think
I
that
think it goes,
summarizes it.
and even in the idea of religion, it's something we don't fully understand.
Yes.
But we feel a connection to.
But we feel a connection to it.
Yeah.
Faith.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
Yeah. I mean, feel free also to in the comment section to to further this discussion. That statement. Yeah. Feel free to jump in your thoughts on it,
and you can also watch our film
Etipo.
Yeah.
Etipo. Correction. Etipo.
And tell us your experience with it.
Yeah.
It's a film that we did our best in making. Yeah, we are proud of it. So tell us what you think in the comment section. Yeah.